Good morning and welcome to a brand new edition of the Demoy Factor. I'm having troubles with my internet yet again, so this will be a very shortened version of the show. I also have a meeting to attend. As I always say on this platform, nothing just happens in politics. Nothing happens by mere coincidence. It's usually scripted, well planned, executed to achieve specific objectives. Yesterday, just as I predicted, in open court, Serena CEPHAS was asked to produce the evidence. Where is the evidence? CEPHAS and the government of Liberia asked for more time. Under the law and consistent with the judge ruling, they have 5 days. I suspect because they have no evidence, and remember yesterday, I told you there are certain objectives, achievable objectives that the government is pursuing. Objective number 1, to try and associate Alexander Cummings with crime. Objective number 2, to steal his time. And it's in pursuit of that objective number 2 that CEPHAS and the government of Liberia is implementing the delay tactic. Yesterday, when he was asked in open court, and most lawyers tell me the Solicitor General should have already provided his evidence as a matter of course. He waited to be asked, and when he was asked, he asked for more time. Why were they in court yesterday? They were in court yesterday because CEPHAS had asked for the trial to be televised. CEPHAS, who should be a learned member of the bar, an experienced lawyer, should already know that the rules of court, I think number 11, forbids having cameras in court. But he asked for it anyways, so as to delay. We're going to see more of that. Let me play for you Councillor Sila's interview after the hearing yesterday. And then I will show you where CEPHAS is going next to find delays.
Allegation against CEPHAS and the other 2 defendants. The government of Liberia is alleging that Mr. Cummings and the other 2 defendants conspired to alter the CPP framework document regarding the period for a party to exit the framework, the CPP framework, thereby deceiving the ALP and the public that issue about the period for exiting the framework was resolved. But according to them, it was not resolved. That is the substance of the allegation against Mr. Cummings and the 2 defendants. The charges against them, forgery, criminal conspiracy, those charges are second-degree misdemeanor. Second-degree misdemeanor, which has a sentence, the both charges, of not more than 4 months, and even the fines will be not less than $1,000. I mean, you imagine the state of such a petty offense requesting for a televised trial I think it's quite ridiculous. It's quite ridiculous. It shows the intent, the motive for the request that they made. Thankfully, the judge knows the law, as we made the references to the law, the rules of court, as well as the canon prohibits the use of televised gadgets, cameras in the courtroom to record the trial because it distracts the court, the jury, the judge. So we have every time the judge has his mind, the courage to deny motions, the charges, are caught up, and well, intended thing is high definition. And he is citing to cross the ground.
Right. Do you think your client will be
I am very much confident of his innocence. I am 100% confident of his innocence. And that's the reason why the attempts are made to lower him to the extent where he's not. So the attempts are to bring it down to the sole intent of punishing his reputation so that they can all good. It's about else. The law will be used and will do what we can. But I didn't put the compensation so that you cross the ground.
When you say category, which category are you talking about?
The truth crushed to the earth will rise. But this is an important point. When Councillor Silla talks about the evidence, he will mention specifics that they are seeking from CEPHAS. He will mention the framework document. He will mention specific instruments that the prosecution is supposed to provide. But when it comes to CEPHAS, one second. When it comes to CEPHAS, you will find that CEPHAS is going to broaden the net. The only strategy CEPHAS is going to deploy now is to broaden the net. He is going to go on a fishing expedition. He is going to ask for all meeting minutes of the CPP. This is now going to be a treasure trove. You see, sometimes when you hate somebody so much, you destroy yourself in going after them. Now, Joseph Newman Boakai, Alexander Benedict Cummings, Benona Ure, countless meetings. They held maybe hundreds of meetings. CEPHAS is going to ask for all those meeting minutes because he doesn't actually have any evidence. He is going to broaden the scope of documentation he needs. He is going to subpoena himself away. Each subpoena that's presented has to be responded to. There have to be argument, and the judge has to rule. That's days, that's weeks. So maybe in a week, you have one court date. If CEPHAS can maneuver to generate 10 reasons why they must argue and the judge must provide ruling, and if the judge gives 4 or 5 days in between, this thing could take way longer than 5 to 6 weeks. And that is CEPHAS strategy. He is going to, now that we have asked him for evidence that he doesn't have, CEPHAS strategy, I predict to you, CEPHAS strategy is going to be subpoenas. He's going to subpoena everybody's phone records. He's going to subpoena. Can you imagine an opposition person surrendering your meeting minutes? This is the poor leadership of Ambassador Joseph Numa Boakai. So all of your plans, your political strategy, the content of your discussions and thoughts that you had in confidence as a united opposition is now reachable. Is now reachable. This is one of the benefits that the government gets in allowing this witch hunt to go ahead. They can access information, valuable information, not valuable for the case. But I told you yesterday, this case does not exist. There's no case. It is a witch hunt designed for opportunistic reasons, for political opportunity. This is a chance for the GOL to play the opposition using our internal division, period. And Joseph Numa Boakai, because of his coordination with Verona Yure, caused this. Now you understand why I said Boakai does not intend to run. Because if you are a serious presidential candidate, why will you pursue a matter that is going to lead to your opponent, George Manewia, gaining access to all your internal documents? Yes, if you want to continue with the case, you have to produce all those documentation. And when you resist, it's going to burn up time. Now that CEPHAS back is against the wall with the question, where is the evidence? CEPHAS is going to start a fishing expedition. He is going to subpoena all sorts of records and generate legal challenges. To do what? To consume time. The burning of time is CEPHAS' new strategy. That's it. We're going to spend at least 3 to 4 weeks in this one position. Is it not the same CEPHAS that sat on Spoon and said he had seen overwhelming evidence that clearly shows and establishes that fraud was committed? Is it not the same CEPHAS? Yesterday, when he was asked, he asked for more time. I am telling you that this is more politics than law. And so CEPHAS is now going to sit down and think about all the things he can ask for that will be difficult for Yuri or be difficult for Cummings to offer. Nobody feels comfortable with someone reading all their private WhatsApp messages, because this might even lead to electronic search warrants. CEPHAS is going to take this to a level of absurdity. Now that he's back up against the wall, his only fighting chance is to make all these ridiculous applications and create a basis for a long trial. That's what's going to happen. Yesterday, I saw Henry Costa misinforming the public that the judge had come under pressure. Go and read the rules of court. Just number 11 is on the internet. It's everywhere. CEPHAS knew. Costa knows. Nobody put any pressure on any judge. The judge simply told CEPHAS what he he knew or he should have known. And so CEPHAS now is going to take this new step of subpoenaing, records and individuals that he will not want to testify. And then there will be argument on whether or not he can have those documentation, and that's how this case is gonna go. It's gonna be more ridiculous requests from CEPHAS. This is the only way he can extend this case, because if he submits his set of evidence, he will be restricted to what he has submitted. So he's going to make that submission process. First of all, he will bring forth some very basic things like the framework document. He will bring forward a number of letters, and he will say, Your Honor, we want to complete the evidence, but some of the evidence is in this record, is in that record, is in that record, is in this record, and we need access to it. That's what he's going to do. He is not going to allow the 5 days to expire. He will comply in a tactical sense, and then, in a harmless way, say, Your Honor, this is not all of our evidence. We have more and far damaging ones. Our client has informed us, but we need access to this, and we need access to that, and we need access to this. And he will be very broad. Let's take Councillor Silla on the pieces of documentation that they want to see CEPHAS present. Just a minute.
What the intention of the CEPHAS via Zoom in the heat of the COVID-19 crisis. That's what is.
Do you care to name a few? Do you care to name a few?
Name down the court records. You can research the court record. It's a public record, and you get to know those.
People listening to you might want to know.
But they actually so there is the initial document that was signed by the parties via Zoom in the heat of the COVID-19 crisis. That's what instrument. As a consequence of some confusion came out of the initial document, the lawyers were asked to review that document in order to make it more consistent with what the intention of CCPA is. And so the lawyers do that. And so submitted a revised version to CCP leadership. We want a copy of that. We want a copy of all the emails, transmission between the ALP and the other leaders. All right? We want documentation with respect to the leadership of Senator Kanda. We want Kanda Lawrence. We want to see those emails transmission. Those things are quite key to establishing the facts. And because we know of them, we have asked them to produce them. If they do not produce them, the law is that they will not have the opportunity to use them and try them.
Consider your current opinion in that.
I have told you, and I will repeat it. I have explicit confidence in his character, in his reputation. I have explicit confidence in his innocence.
I have explicit confidence in his innocence. That's Ibrahim Silla, counselor at law and one of the lead lawyers on behalf of Honorable Alexander P. Cummings. So Silla is very specific. We need the framework document. We need emails transmission. We need documentation connected to the leadership of Nyomli Kanga Lawrence. CEPHAS will go beyond that. CEPHAS will go beyond that. CEPHAS will ask for communication records between all of the accused. CEPHAS will go further than where Councillor Silla has stopped. CEPHAS will ask for more intrusive and evasive instruments. And that is where the delays will come in. That's where the delay will come in. CEPHAS will go after very ridiculous things. Let's just hope the judge has his head on right and is able to quickly deal with some of these things that CEPHAS will put forward. But yeah, that's where we are. The ALP case is falling apart. They're struggling to find evidence. There is no evidence. It's difficult to prove something that didn't happen. Okay, it's difficult to prove something that didn't happen. It's impossible. It's very difficult. And so the government only strategy is to delay. But let's see if Ure and Joseph Newman Boakai are excited to give out their records to allow CEPHAS to have access to all the private exchanges they had. So where Bernard Ure was probably speaking ill of the president, who is his new friend, how do you deal with the political fallout around that? The newspapers will be, because CEPHAS will start leaking it. CEPHAS will start leaking it. Because now you have to go back and listen to my last program where I discussed the specific strategic objectives. One of the objectives the government had was to make sure that this battle between Cummings and Boakai doesn't end, because it is of a major value to the government. So any kind of way they can extend it. So now using the court, they will ask for these documentation, and if they are controversial, put them out in the press to spark more exchanges between Cummings and Boakai. The way things were going, government didn't like it. The fact that Boakai said, you know what, this marriage is not working, I'm leaving. He's walking away. And Alexander B. Cummings says, you know what? Safe journey, best of luck, good riddance. I am sticking with the promise of leading the CPP and staying in this thing. Joseph Newman Boakai, quitter. So I asked the question, what would Boakai do if he's president and there are problems in the country? He would just pack his bag and move to Sierra Leone? But in any case, the departure of United Party and the ALP was going to create a period of calm, which the government does not want. So what do? They use the short-sightedness of Ure, instrumentalize it to witch hunt Alexander Cummings, knowing that this will create bad blood and create tension and extend this perception that the opposition is fighting. These are the government's strategic objectives. They know they're not going to put Alexander B. Cummings in no jail for no 4 months, and they're not going to fine him because they don't have the evidence to prosecute him. But if they can collect valuable intelligence, if they can keep the opposition continuously fighting each other and distracted, then they have achieved something. If they can demotivate opposition voters, that listen, this whole idea of change is not possible because there is internal split. This, mind you, the CDC has its own problems. The NPP is shaking. There's a new leadership crisis in the NPP. The coalition partners of George Weah are feeling cheated. Both Alex Tyler and Joel Howard Taylor find the marriage to be one-sided. But the longer the CDC can sustain an opposition infight, nobody pays attention to their fight. They are having major challenges with the economy. The last time the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs had to go on the airport to stop workers who were who had held an entire plane hostage for their salaries. People are owed upwards of 3 months. This is in the context where we are told the economy has started growing. And so the government has major issues. And it doesn't want the opposition to refocus. Because what happens when Alexander Cummings is not fighting Boakai? What happens when Boakai is not fighting Alexander Cummings? They are all fighting Weah. And so, cleverly, the Weah administration is exploiting this gift that Benoni Ure and Joseph Numa Boakai has handed to George Weah. And connect that to my earlier assertion that Joseph Numa Boakai does not intend to run. He does not. Everything he's doing, trying to build a new coalition, trying to pick a good running mate, and so on and so forth, is all meant to create bargaining chip. If Joseph Numa Boakai was actually running, he wouldn't have endorsed Benoni Ure's move to partner with the government to take another opposition leader to court. If Joseph Boakai was actually running, he wouldn't do that. Especially having the benefit of lawyers, legal minds in the United Party. They would have looked at this and known that when these facts are contested, it will lead to subpoenas. It will lead to documents that shows to the entire world the opposition strategy, their deliberations that they held in confidence. Does Joseph Numa Boakai remember everything he said in all of those meetings? Are they all flattering? Are they all consistent with his public views? Does he want the executive mansion to read his WhatsApp messages? These are the questions. What kind of a serious opposition candidate will create a leeway for the government to look into all of their private exchanges? What kind of a serious oppositionist is going to do that? Some of you don't understand where I come from when I say Joseph Numa Boakai does not intend to run. But come on, put it together. You can discover intent through actions. I feel sorry for those who are online and those in the diaspora that are organizing for Joseph Numa Boakai 2023. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Joseph Numa Boakai has sold out or is selling out. Because you in Africa, you are going against an incumbent president and you allow a case that's going to bring all of your internal documents to court. No serious oppositionist would have pursued this. I see a lot of young people who have confidence in Joseph Numa Boakai. They find it unbelievable when I say this, but there's no other explanation for the conduct of Joseph Nima Boakai. Now he's silent. You don't get a word from Boakai. It's as if he's a Guinean. He's not uttering a word, as if that will exonerate him, that he's not speaking. In fact, that he's not speaking exposes his hands. We'll let Yere go and do the clowning and the suing and the frontal projection, while we sit in the back and benefit. It is sad where this country is going. Very sad that an elderly statesman like Joseph Nima Boakai will play such a negative role in the country politics at a time when the Liberian people really need patriotism that can lead to change. The economy, people are suffering, people are hurting, and Joseph Nima Boakai is playing politics. Where is this man of wisdom? Where is this honest man? Where is honest Joe? All these mischaracterization of Joseph Nima Boakai, misrepresentation of Joseph Nima Boakai for campaign purposes are falling apart. How can you on the 15th of October promise the entire nation that you will stick it out, that the CPP will survive, and that you will play a leadership role? And then 3 months down the road, you have executives sign a resolution that you're leaving. Not only are you leaving, you're taking people to court. All of this points to the fact that Joseph Nima Boakai does not intend to run. And that's why we're seeing this bogus trial that CEPHAS is going to drag on. All of these things you will see in a few days. I predict before those 5 days are over, CEPHAS will start the process. He will submit some documentation into evidence, because when they say evidence, you can present anything that's connected to the charge. So you present copy of the framework document, you present a few things, then you will say, Your Honor, I need to go after so. And in the end, Alexander Benedict Cummings will be exonerated because there is no evidence. And because he did nothing wrong, he's 100% innocent. And Joseph Nima Boakai and George Manewia and Bernard Yere will have to watch Alexander Cummings walk out victorious. They have set this man up for success in the political arena. People, one guy called me and said, "Hey, man, every time the people attack the guy, every time they attack him, he survives. They attack him, he survives." They're calling the man the Rock. They're calling Alexander Cummings the Rock. And this is what Liberian people love. They love a leader that is tough. They love a leader that is determined. They love a leader that's not a quitter. Liberian people admire strength and courage. And they are giving Alexander Benedict Cummings a struggle history. And by the time all of this nonsense is over, there will be one real opposition versus George Manewia. Because Joseph Nima Boakai, like I said, is not going to run. And when that happens, Alexander Benedict Cummings will win, because he will be the only alternative to Weah. the people who vote for Cummings, not so much that they love Cummings, but that they are afraid of a we are second term. A we are second term is like a death sentence with hunger. It's like a date with the devil. Liberians will do anything to avoid a we are second term. And that's how Alexander Benedict Cummings is going to clinch electoral victory against George Weah. Because whereas the votes would have been divided if Bwaka had remained an oppositionist, now he has become a regime collaborator, and everyone can see that he's trying to cash out. But he's just trying to get money to go and relax. And so he's discredited. Even if he hangs on to the ballot, he'll be discredited. There are a lot of people who have lost respect for him, that he will work with George Weah to be taking up his opponents to court. So he's discredited. There might be a few hardliners, but he's discredited. And then if he stays off the ballot, even better. The objectives that Joseph Newman Boakai and Ure pursued in taking Alexander Cummings to court is a short-term feel-good objective. So the arrest warrant is issued. Supposedly, Alexander Cummings' name is dragged through the mud. Then the noise comes down and they ask you, where is the evidence? You're confused. If the falsity of these charges is established in a court of law, Alexander Benedict Cummings is a hero. So this is a massive backfiring. So what did Bwaka get out of all of this? I'm sure some money. I'm sure some money. And a sense of relief and revenge. The happiness, the Hennessy that was drank at Woki Farm will soon start to disappear. The taste of it is going to go sour. Because in the short term, you attempted to disgrace Alexander Cummings, to associate him with crime. So anytime now you say to Ure, oh, you used to sell arms, he can now say, oh, you forged documents. That's how petty and small-minded Ure is. As for Joseph Newman Boakai, oh, Cummings now want to agree for us to go on the ticket. He doesn't want to bring his money so that I can campaign with it. So I will show him. Even if I will not get the presidency, I will show him. It's that kind of recklessness that's associated with losers, immature losers. That is the basis of this entire proceeding. And once you're doing short-term, small-minded thinking, you're only going to get small-minded outcomes. You can't plant cassava and harvest rice. If you set rat trap, you catch rat. If you set deer trap, you catch deer. Alexander Benedict Cummings is focused on, number one, unifying and leading the opposition. Number two, making sure that George Weah is soundly defeated at the polls. Number three, making sure that the trajectory Liberia is on is reversed, which is a downward trajectory, is reversed so that the arrows start looking up again. He is concerned not just with capturing power, but with how do you now reorganize society and create a more productive situation. I am focused on that. Ure is trying, his goal is to be seen as strong or important or relevant. Joseph Newman Boaka's goal is to show Ellen that I can be president. And she didn't support me in 2017. I will show her I can win election. That's Joseph Newman Boaka's goal. Joseph Newman Boaka's goal is not to fix the energy situation in this country. His goal is not to fix the economy. His goal is not to fix agriculture. His goal is not to fix sanitation. Joseph Newman Boaka's goal is revenge. Revenge. Anybody that's doing politics out of revenge is useless to us. We don't want Alexander Cummings to come to revenge on George Weah or to intimidate people that intimidated him. What the Liberian people need is someone that can take this country economy, fix it, make sure that civil servants are taking pay on time, making sure that the private sector is growing and people can find jobs, make sure that the schools are functional, that children are meeting the educational target, make sure that there's drugs in the hospital, make sure that the roads are passable all year round, and restore Liberia's dignity in the community of nations. That's what Liberian people want. We don't care if you were offended by Ellen. We don't care. So Joseph Newman Boaka wants the presidency as a way of revenging, and as a way of proving something to Ellen. These are people's lives. Look, the next president will have no time because this country economy is so destroyed. It's in the gutters. You need a president who will start to rebuild on day one. Not someone that will come and start seeking revenge. And so, because Joseph Newman Boaka and Benoni Ayew are pursuing small goals, they don't think through the process. You win a battle, you lose the war. That's why they're running out of energy. That's why they're running out of steam. That's why they're unprepared. Thinking small, short-sighted. And now Alexander Cummings is public enemy number one because he is staying the course. We all agreed to come together and set aside our personal ambition. You know how many times Alexander Cummings went against the interest of the ANC just to save the CPP? Today, Tai Wongwe is on the internet expressing anger because Alexander Benedict Cummings took a decision to stand by the CPP decision in Nimba. Several other instances where Alexander Benedict Cummings took the hard choice of sacrificing his personal interests, and ANC's interest at the altar of CPP progress. Now that is leadership. That is leadership. Thinking about the general interest. No, not Joseph Boaka. It's his way or the highway. What were the principles under which we united? We united under the principle that the most important political objective is to make George Weah a one-term president and stop the bleeding. That any means that is decided to be necessary will be pursued. We committed. Who has kept their commitment and who has not? Alexander Cummings is still in the CPP. All of the terms that were agreed to by all 4 persons are still in force. Alexander Benedict Cummings is still standing by his word. Joseph Numa Boakai is like this, unstable. Oh, I have this dream that people are going to cheat me. I have this dream that I will be cheated. And so I'm leaving. Rumors of cheating. And you run away from someone who you called a stranger in this country's politics. You are supposed to be the experienced guru, and you run away. So, folks, as I wrap up, just to make things easy for you, the problem in CPP is Joe Boakai's lack of leadership. Someone sent me a message that, oh, you know, Joe Boakai don't know about the case that UA. Can 2 work together unless they agree? If Joe Boakai doesn't know about the case and he doesn't agree with the prosecution of Alexander Benedict Cummings, what happened to a pen? What happened to a mouth? When is he going to instruct Mo Ali that as party to that same agreement, we do not associate ourselves with any claim that it was altered? Instead, Unity Party activists are collaborating actively in an informational battle and promoting the Euro case in the open. In the open. And Joseph Numa Boakai wants us to believe that this is a Euro initiative. I told you before, that same Bernard Ure was very instrumental in Ellen Johnson Sirleaf's attempt. All the insulting he and Costello insult Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. They helped Ellen get a second term. Yes, the US did. Played a role in fracturing the CDC. There was a time, I think Councillor Winston Tubman wanted to go into the second round. Ure and them discouraged him from doing so because they had a deal to protect their economic interests. Ure cut the first deal through Emmanuel Shaw. And so for Joseph Numa Boakai, who's supposed to be a wise man, to walk into all of that, and you are telling me that, oh, the old man, I keep getting text messages, oh, the old man not like that, the old man will never do that, and so on and so forth. The most important thing about an old man is that he's a man. And human beings are capable of evil. They say old injured, they say old man. That means he's a man. And his actions betrays his intentions. We're not just listening to what Boakai is saying. We are watching what he's doing. He has a very loud silence on important national issue. When Mo Ali, who was just Secretary General, third rank, was being taken to Monrovia Central, to the Central Police Station, Alexander Benedict Cummings, Joseph Numa Boakai, everybody, Musa Hassan Bility, everybody stood together and escorted him. when Buhari was in trouble with the law, when the state was using its powers to intimidate, there was solidarity right across the board. Abraham Darius Dillon is in this country. He talks on everything. The color of leaf, he has an opinion on everything. On this one, zipped, because it's a coordinated strategy. And so Joseph Numa Boakai has destroyed his own political standing. He's discredited himself as a regime collaborator. Same with Abraham Darius Dillon. As for Dillon, he started with his plane ticket issue and just made it worse with this one. Henry Pedro Costa. All of these individuals acting in concert for a short-term goal. Short-term goal that is going to backfire horribly. You know, if Joseph Numa Boakai was running for office, he would think, he would say, what if I come second? Or what if there's a second round and I need Alexander Cummings' support? And I've been associated with prosecuting him maliciously. What would be my chances of getting his endorsement? That's how candidates think. But because Joseph Numa Boakai is a sellout and he does not intend to run, that is why he told you, you can go ahead. Because after all this drama and scheming and this and that, it's going to come down to money. Money that some of you, the supporters that are under the stream, insulting me. Money that you will not see a dime of. You are not going to see a dime. It will be divided right at the top. How many of you went to Accra? How many of you went to Accra? And meetings of that nature. The so-called hardliners, they will be cut out once Joseph Numa Boakai cuts his deal, because he knows he cannot run and win. So he's going to maintain that stature so that he can be talked to. If Joseph Numa Boakai was a candidate, there will be no case in the courts. Absolutely none. You will start to see the new coalition blossom. They will start holding meetings. You'll see them unveiling to you their new headquarters. Or in the interior, you'll start to see them moving around, introducing the new structures. But Joseph Numa Boakai is not running for president. That is why we are in court. And we're in court with our evidence. That's it, folks. I'll see you tomorrow with a brand new edition of the Dumoy Factor. If you're just joining, share the program. Write in the comment section where you are joining me from. And let me know your thoughts. Do you think Joseph Numa Boakai is really going to make it to the ballot? Do you think he wants to run for president? Let me hear your thoughts. I have intelligence that he's not going to run, and I have his attitude that he has taken. I've seen he has exposed his strategy through his actions and inactions. I am convinced that Joseph Numa Boakai will not be running. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Thanks for being there, and I'll see you tomorrow with a brand new edition of the Dumoy Factor.